What is the most dangerous film ever made?
Mm.
Is it the story of one woman's trip up an African river? Howard Hughes's epic featuring never-before-filmed sky battles? Or is it the story of a family's battle against a pride of predator big cats that resulted in over 70 injuries during the course of its filming? Unfortunately, we may never know, because while we were searching for 1981's Roar to watch for this episode, Freevee recommended something else, and we immediately clicked on that sight unseen instead. Welcome to Trash for Trash, a bad movie podcast where we watch so you don't have to. We are your trash men. I'm James Willems.
I'm Patrick Brown.
And in this episode, we're going on an epic journey with some strange yet familiar characters in search of 7 pearls that
They're
when
not paws.
No, they
They're
are
not
pearls.
paws.
When combined, summon a creature that can grant any wish.
Wait, what kind of creature?
You'll find out in just a second. We're trashing on 1991's Dragon Ball The Magic Begins.
Ah, yes, okay.
I'm coming back to rise again. I feel the things that beat the best of me. Nothing can slow me down or make me stop. There's nothing standing my way. I'm gonna rise to the top.
Now, I'm not familiar with Dragon Ball. This is a pretty accurate, you would say, pretty close?
In some ways, it is.
Okay.
Yes. This film is directed. It is a Taiwanese film.
Yeah.
Okay? It is directed.
Dragon Ball, Japanese,
Yes.
correct?
But
Okay.
I'll get into it a little bit more. But Dragon Ball,
Mhm.
the first arc, before you get into Dragon Ball Z, you get gold-haired Super Saiyans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know you're unfamiliar. I know
I-
it's a point of
Fine.
shame for you.
I
That
didn't
you
say
don't know
that.
the ins
Didn't
and
say
outs
that.
of every aspect of Dragon Ball NZ. But the original Dragon Ball story was basically just Journey to the West.
Which is like an ancient Chinese
mythological
novel?
story. It's like,
Yeah,
one of the oldest
yeah.
stories or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like Gilgamesh and Journey to the West.
Yeah.
So Dragon Ball was originally purposed into that.
Mhm.
Now, I don't think it's the same thing when a Taiwanese production company comes along, does not acquire the rights
No, they don't.
to the property, and then makes it anyway, but they did.
Fine.
This film was directed by Chun-Liang Chen,
Mhm.
who appeared to be, looking through his credits, mostly a martial arts fantasy director. A lot of stuff in the similar ilk of this.
Did you notice
Yeah.
everyone's IMDb page that I went on? Almost identical.
They all said this movie, and
They all
Yeah.
like just worked together.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
seems like
Well-
on like 5 movies.
yeah, the writer, Ching Kang Yao,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I could tell, only wrote movies for this guy
Yeah.
to direct.
All the actors too. It was
Yeah.
like they'd been in 5 or 6 movies and all of them were directed by this guy.
Yeah, well, my favorite, a
I-
standout one was Child of Peach. That one came up a
yeah.
bunch
Yes,
in
it did.
1987, Child of Peach, and I wrote down the summary for Child of Peach because I thought
Let's
you'd
hear
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Peach Kid
Yeah.
joins Tiny Cock, Tiny Monkey, and Tiny Dog to rescue the princess from the Devil's Apple King of Monster Island.
Great. Fine. Yeah.
Sounds great, and it might end up on this podcast.
Sounds like it also might have been based on Journey to the West.
It could be. I mean, if you look at the cover
Kinda
art, you
sounds
go,
like it.
that might be it. So in
Yeah.
some ways, maybe they did have a right to Dragon Ball. This movie stars Chi Chiang Chen and Jeannie Shea. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I
I mean,
apologize
yeah.
for pronunciation. But Chi Chiang Chen
Mhm.
plays. We're gonna call. By the way, we're gonna call them by their names, not the made up names that they had to
Uh-huh.
come up with in this. Because I was
Oh.
pointing to it, and I was like, "There's Bulma," and they're like, "I'm Saito," and I'm like,
Yeah,
"No,
yeah.
you're not,"
Yeah, no.
or whatever. I'm Monkey Boy and
Yeah,
stuff.
Goku is Monkey Boy.
Goku is Monkey Boy, and his dad was called, or his grandfather was called Sparkle.
Is that who that is? I kept seeing Sparkle in the
That was his grandfather,
That's
I
his
guess.
grandpa?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
But the person who played Goku in this, the whole movie we thought was a woman, was not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
It wasn't, but very feminine features, and
Yeah,
we thought
yeah.
it made perfect sense. The voice actor
Uh-huh.
for Goku in Japan is a woman.
Yeah.
So I just thought it made perfect sense. But no, like you said, everyone's Wikipedia is almost exactly the same. I couldn't really find
Yep.
anything that stood out for a single one of them, with the exception of Jeannie Shea,
Oh.
who played Bulma. She has a
Bulma
pretty
briefs.
Bulma
I'm
briefs.
seeing right here.
Yes,
so
Bulma
it's
briefs.
underwear from what you were
Yeah.
telling me earlier. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Okay.
And then she has a son named Trunks. And her dad, what is her
Okay.
dad's? Her dad's name is like blue trousers. They all have names.
Great.
that
Yeah.
are part-
no
they're grouped
questions.
together.
No questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Jeannie, who played Bulma, dance pop superstar.
Oh, really?
She's got over a dozen albums.
What?
She's huge. She's like Kylie Minogue of
That's the one you went with.
Taiwan,
Okay.
which is also Kylie Minogue.
Yeah.
One of her singles, Sister, has over 41 million views on YouTube.
Whoa.
She's a TV and film star, has been for decades, basically
Oh.
since she broke out in these films, and then she did all kinds of other stuff.
Okay.
I made a note of one film that she did here because I thought you'd enjoy it, called How to Train Our Dragon.
Not your.
No,
Okay.
but that wasn't its original title.
Right.
It was retitled from what I thought was a much catchier title,
Uh-huh.
which was With 5 Sisters, I'm Destined to Be Single.
That's a great title.
That's a great title.
That's a great
It
title.
tells you everything you need to know. And then I also pulled this other quote from Wiki just because I wanted to get your take on it. I was a
Okay.
little confused.
Mhm.
And this is again about the actor who played Bulma. On December 21, 1991, Shay was involved in a near-fatal car accident, receiving multiple fractures. Period. Next sentence. Her physician advised her to give birth before the age of 30.
The fuck?
And
Are those related?
I
or is
couldn't
it-
tell. I wanted to
What
get
the
your take.
hell?
Do you think those are related?
Well, obviously, you and I have publicly stated many times, if you can give birth,
Yeah.
you must give birth, and before the age of 30.
Oh, I would hope so. Absolutely. Absolutely.
What a strange. Okay, yeah,
Anyway,
sure, fine.
That's just something I found.
What doctor was this? Also, do we know, was this solicited? Did she go and say, "Hey, I'd like to get pregnant"?
Was this during? I couldn't tell if this was before or after the accident.
You know what I noticed about the Wikipedia is several of the main characters, they have actors and then voice actors, and it's not for the dub.
Oh.
I don't think.
Oh.
Like, I mean, I pulled it up right now.
Yeah.
Chi Chang Chen, Monkey
Yeah.
Boy, Goku.
Yeah.
Voice Lu Xiaoyun.
So they just dubbed.
So-
they just ADR'd
And
him.
3 of them. I mean, yeah, the one
Unless it-
Genie and Chung Yu Huang.
Unless it
Turtle
was
Man.
like into Mandarin or something.
That could be. It could be that they were speaking some other
Yeah.
dialect or something,
could
and
have
it just
been,
had to
yeah.
be dubbed into
Like how in America, if someone films a movie in Florida, it has to be redubbed so the rest of
Dubbed,
the
so-
country can understand.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, again, this cast, I couldn't really pull up that much information on the cast. Some additional info we mentioned, it's based on Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball series.
Mhm.
And yeah, it is, I recognized a lot of it, but some things I didn't because this movie is pretty much a straight rip of Curse of the Blood Rubies, which
Okay.
was an animated film based on Dragon Ball by Akira Toriyama with the actual cast and animation team and
Yeah.
everything. But it was sometimes they do these things which are original animated films that don't necessarily exist in canon to the
Mhm.
story itself. And
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide Fabric Rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide Fabric Rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide Fabric Rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide Fabric Rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide Fabric Rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide Fabric Rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
This, because I was like, who's this bad guy supposed to be? Who are these people?
I was like, I didn't watch Dragon Ball, but I can see a character and be like, I know that's a Dragon Ball guy.
Yeah.
None of the,
No, design.
all the villains, I was like, none of these people
Yeah.
look anything like anything I've seen
Mhm.
before.
It's also worth noting that what we watched was the Ultimate Edition.
That's important.
It's very important.
That's important.
We were a little confused. This movie was released in 1991, but the version we saw
Mm-hmm.
had a re-release in 2007. And what they did was they just added a bunch of graphics. They basically let one intern go
Yeah.
buck wild on it in After Effects.
Yeah. It's very confusing. My very first note in here was this remastered? And then the second one is there's a weird stabilizer effect on everything.
Mhm.
My third note feels like it was shot in 1990 and edited in 2009.
Yeah, I mean, because it essentially
which is basically
was.
what happened. Those are like my first three notes
Yeah.
on this watching it because it looks, I mean, it looks like a shitty 90s movie, but
Yeah.
it looks better than, like, clearly something was done to the film.
Yeah.
Like, it looks updated. It looks like they rescanned it for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
But then there's this CG, which started right at the beginning with the title cards, where you're like, what the hell?
CG dragon, gold
Yeah.
dragon, and you're like, that is not from 1991.
It's not from 1991, but it's definitely not modern either.
No,
Like, it
no.
looks like shit.
Yeah, it looks
Uh,
terrible.
But it's very clearly something was done to it. And that just keeps going. There's all these effects that are, yeah, I mean, it was 2007, right? That it was redone or whatever.
That's what it said here. Yeah. The thing that bothered me the most
Mhm.
is that you could still see all the wire.
Every wire
They
is
didn't
visible.
use any of the technology of the time
No.
to make it look less old.
Yeah.
They just added stuff into it so it would look old again soon.
Yeah.
You know, like, because if you watch Casablanca,
Uh-huh.
you don't go, wow, this looks so old, because
Yeah.
everything is consistently old.
Right.
But if you were
Yeah,
like,
yeah, it all
oh,
looks like it's from the same time
we're
period.
remastering Casablanca and we're changing all the cars to CG cars,
Yeah.
ultimately something would seem off in it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened here. There's spaceships. There's
I mean, that's where you notice it first is these spaceships come out of the
Mhm.
sky and are like really clearly sort of like 90s television sci-fi ships, I would say.
at best.
Because
at
like they weren't
best.
really doing this in movies too much at that point because it looked so much better to just have a miniature.
Yeah.
But I think in TV at that time, it was probably like, it's actually pretty cheap to just do these siege. And it doesn't matter if it looks good because it's going into like
Yeah.
320p or lower on tape.
But in this situation, if they were like, oh, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it cheap.
Yeah.
It still costs something. If you paid someone
Yeah.
$15 to do all the re-graphics for this movie, you still spent $15 on it.
Yeah.
I
and
wanted to
time.
watch the original.
I know. I agree.
I found
with
screenshots
ya.
and it looks fine. I mean, it looks like Power Rangers.
I was so confused throughout the entire thing why this was remastered and why they had updated the graphics. My only thought that I had not until we walked into the studio was maybe it was a way to capitalize on the American live action
Right.
Dragon Ball Z movie, which came out in 2009. This Ultimate Edition came out in 2007. So like it could have been announced, I guess, but I really don't think that's what happened. It's really puzzling. Why did they do this?
I think you are right, but not necessarily in that the movie is the reason they were trying to capitalize on the movie. But I think the movie existed because of the mainstream rise of Dragon Ball Z in the West in general.
Oh,
right? Like the
yeah,
only
the
reason they
Cartoon
made
Network,
a shitty
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z movie, which I've actually never seen, Dragon
Mhm.
Ball Evolution, which I've actually never seen.
we could watch it next.
We could watch it next, maybe. That's a
Supposed to be
lot.
quite good.
That's a lot. But the only reason they made it is because there was like that Toonami
Right.
surging
yeah.
rise.
It was that and like what Gundam.
Just in
and,
time
yeah.
for me to be out of school and not mocked anymore for my awesome shirts that had Vegeta
Oh,
on the
you wore the
back.
shirts.
Majin
Yeah, that's
Vegeta,
no good.
baby.
That's no good.
What?
Well, I was
You
saying.
button them up the front.
Oh,
and
you had
then
those?
No, I didn't.
I knew a
wish.
guy. I knew a guy.
Yeah,
I was telling you most of my knowledge of Dragon Ball Z, which I wiped. It's gone. Is from being in 8th grade or sixth grade.
Okay.
And there was an 8th grader who wore those button-up, like full print
Mhm.
Goku shirts or
Yeah,
whatever.
So the
And
coolest
he would tell me about Dragon Ball Z.
yeah.
But
Well, now that's me. That's me.
yeah, there you go. I
If he had only
I
waited a little
guess.
bit longer, it would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then people in Taiwan would have been paying thousands of dollars.
Can I tell you
Yeah,
how puzzled I was when anime became mainstream and cool?
not me.
Because look, hey, I'm not trying to say I was cool.
Mhm.
Nothing like that.
Yeah,
Okay. Not
okay.
trying to say nothing like that. You understand?
Okay.
However, everyone knew when I was a child,
Yeah.
anime's corny. It's for nerds. It's for losers.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I'm seeing stickers. What's that? What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Why is he peeking out of his? Why is that little anime?
Well, that's
lady
all. The whole
peeking
stickers
out
on
of a
cars
car at
thing
me?
is like a very, very new
And I'm like,
thing.
this is normal. People think this is okay. It's sick.
Anime is awesome because ultimately, I have a theory about anime.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I have a theory. We millennials were
Mhm.
so heavily marketed to when we were young.
Yeah.
Because thank God Reagan came into office and deregulated
away all
all
those.
educational media and
Yeah,
said
yeah.
it's free reign on kids.
Yeah.
Which sucks
In the aftermath.
cosmically, right?
Yeah,
It
sure.
sucks cosmically and is horrible.
Yeah.
Because you have illiterate children. But it was
Sure.
awesome for us growing up because
Yeah.
it meant that we had hours and hours and full-on television channels devoted to entertaining us
And it
any
was,
way possible.
And it was like it was McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, and you're also going to learn a lesson. It was like, no, fuck lessons.
Yeah.
This is 17s fighting a crab.
We
And that's the whole show.
yeah.
That's it.
But the whole thing is we got to get our hooks in you.
Yeah. And then
So-
please buy the toys.
And yeah, and it's all part of a
Yeah.
big merchandising, everything. But I think the thing is our generation got the hooks. We got the hooks in us and we
Yeah.
were like cartoons. But then at a certain point in Western media in the 90s, you age out of cartoons.
Yeah.
But Japan had already established animation as a medium to tell stories.
Never
and,
age out.
And not necessarily
Yeah.
something you'd age out of. They took it very seriously, more
Mhm.
seriously than I would say America did overall. And
Yeah.
so as you started aging out of American animation because there wasn't more for you,
'Cause
you
it was all for
aged
Kids.
in
yeah.
to Japanese animation where they were telling stories and killing people and doing all kinds of
Yeah.
cool shit. There was like mature themes. So that's why I believe there's a cross section
Okay.
there of like basically
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I buy it.
so that's the logic of why it happened.
Sure.
The to answer your question of being confused, it's because it's cool. It's because it's cool and it's
I
awesome.
didn't say that.
Anime is cool and it's awesome and it doesn't hurt anybody.
If the themes present in this movie are what you're referring to, it seems that anime
Adult themes.
may be quite monstrous,
Very
actually,
adult
and
themes.
have some really dark ideas.
Yeah, well,
about
okay, without-
women and sexuality.
Before we
consent,
that's a tease. So
consent.
I think
is
it's
a
about
big-
time
Okay.
we get into the breakdown after this break.
I'm gonna rise to the top.
Patrick, you were saying about theme?
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide fabric rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide fabric rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide fabric rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide fabric rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
Okay, so here's my most requested hack for stubborn odors. You'll need vinegar, a large salad bowl, and
Oh, hi. Have you tried Tide fabric rinse?
Tide fabric rinse.
Right. It's not a detergent or a softener. It works in the rinse cycle to get clothes cleaner.
That sounds way easier.
Just pour it in wherever you put your fabric softener to fight deep odors 3 times better than detergent alone.
Whoa. I love that.
Try Tide Fabric Rinse. Rinse away tough odors. Easy.
I was just saying there's some pretty troubling stuff in this movie that is played off for laughs.
Yeah.
It's joyously joked about. I'm talking about assault.
Okay.
By the way, when I say stuff that's
debatable, he did say he was going to wait till she was older.
They quite clearly both exclaim rapist at one point in this movie.
Yeah.
And it's like a fun
punchline.
They're having
It's a
fun.
punchline.
Yeah.
My counterpoint to this is that Dragon Ball was also kind of a kids show, even in Japan,
Okay.
and it does retain some of the humor and jokes. There was a point in time where nothing was funnier than an old man who just wanted to lech on a woman.
yeah, no, I know.
It was hilarious.
Yep.
We didn't take it seriously. We all had a big laugh, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
It's just a big laugh. It's just a nosebleed that this old man got from seeing some
From
tits.
seeing a lady. Yeah. What are you gonna do, huh?
What are you gonna do? Anyway, so this movie opens with some really horrible modern graphics.
Modern in quotes.
Modern for
maybe.
2000, yeah. Everything
7.
looks like Reptile from Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
That's like as good as it
Yeah.
got. Is
Yeah,
when
yeah.
Reptile is the lizard and it like looks at the screen and goes like, "Meh."
Yeah, and it's
That's
like, ugh.
as good as anything gets. We open on a village, a small farming village somewhere in.
It's also a huge temple, though. Like,
There's a
it's
temple,
yeah.
Because the reason they have a temple is because they're
Housing. Housing.
housing a dragon pearl,
Yes.
a
not
precious
a Dragon Ball.
item of which there are only so many.
7.
And 7. Well, yeah. But the chief of the town is now inducted to be the new chief and the new protector. And wouldn't you know it, first day on the force, aliens show up.
Yeah. It's a guy in blue face paint.
Yeah. Big shoulder
Who did you think
pads.
it was? You thought it might be someone from...
Well, because I was confused because the actual Dragon Ball arc focuses on the Red Ribbon Army and Emperor Pilaf, as Patrick, I'm sure you're
of
aware.
course, yeah.
And then he has 2 other sidekicks, but they're ninjas,
Oh, okay.
and one's a dog.
That's
So
not
I
these two,
didn't know.
yeah.
I didn't really know how to
Yeah,
place
yeah.
them. It turns out they are direct rips of characters from that movie.
Are they? Because they're not listed in the...
Bongo and someone else or
okay,
whatever
okay.
they're 2 characters, and it's basically a woman with a gun,
Yeah.
and a taller guy with a gun.
Yeah, a lot of guns. And a lot of something I noticed pretty quick in this movie is they show up on spaceships
Mm-hmm.
with like regular people guns.
Mm-hmm.
And then later just drive around in tanks, like
Yeah.
Taiwanese tanks.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
not sci-fi tanks. They're just tanks.
No,
Regular tanks.
the one of the weirdest things about this movie is the juxtaposition of martial arts, fighting, and action from 2 or 3 of the characters, and then everyone else just with assault rifles, like
Yeah.
plain, undecorated, unchanged with props or add-ons or whatever, just straight up military grade assault rifles shooting them.
At one point, a Jeep shows up, and
Yeah.
it's really like kind of shocking just seeing the Jeep
Yeah,
because it's like, wait, whoa, when does this take place? Like, I didn't realize it
Yeah.
was even, I guess, Earth necessarily. I don't
Yeah.
know, but yeah, it's pretty hard.
It's weird.
to
It's weird.
kind of
They
parse
had
out,
what they
yeah.
had. We
Yeah.
have a theory that they only had enough money to build one set, which is why
yeah, and which we'll get to
when
that
we get
set
into
because-
it, there's one point in
Holy
this film
shit.
that it grinds to a halt. So
for
they,
so long.
the aliens or the army or whatever, they show up, they blow the town to hell.
Yeah.
We were trying to process the special effects. This is a deep cut, but
Mhm.
there is this, I think it's like the 20th season of the Power Rangers or something. I only
God.
know this because I had to QC them all.
Yes.
Instead of making a new season, they re-released the original season of Power
Uh-huh.
Rangers again, remastered,
Mhm.
and it was exactly like this.
Just like
They
bad
gave
CG and,
they gave some motion graphics artists license to do whatever they wanted.
yeah.
And so they would add wacky effects like hearts around someone's head or
Uh-huh.
the most minimal After Effects templates that you could do.
They were waiting on the Japanese version of the show to catch up or something. So they
I
had
think
to-
they were just Yeah, they were just
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
stalling as they were signing contracts. But this is what it feels like. They get to the temple, they surround everyone, and then we meet our big bad.
who is he? What is he?
I didn't know. He showed up, and I was like, "That's supposed to be Piccolo? Is that supposed to be Emperor Pilaf?"
Mhm.
It's he announces himself as the King of Oz.
Which is weird that he would get that reference because it's not his name. Which means he's making a reference to the Wizard of Oz, I guess, right?
I was very confused because he is credited as King Horn,
Okay.
but he says it's me, the King of Oz. So I don't know. I honestly don't know what happened there. But he's supposed to be the big purple-faced bad guy from the Blood Rubies.
Which you have
movie.
not seen.
I haven't
said, right?
seen, but
Okay.
I recognized. I looked up images of him. I'm like, okay, I recognize that guy.
Mhm.
So that's who he's supposed to be. But he's essentially he looks like a Power Rangers monster of the week.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, he looks better than most of the other stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
The
it's fine.
eyes are pretty whatever.
The actor,
wide open. But
the actor is
yeah.
moving his jaw a lot
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
the mouth open because it's just a
Yeah.
very stiff. It's almost Munchie-esque in a way.
a little bit. Yeah.
But so he takes over the town. He blows it to smithereens, and then he gets his hand on the Dragon Pearl.
Mhm.
Also, he reveals that he has a second Dragon
His
Pearl.
own Dragon
So
Pearl,
now he has
yeah.
two, and every time it shows a Dragon Pearl, the remaster adds a CG dragon of a
Dragon.
different color inside. Then smash to the wilderness, the woods,
Yep.
and we get to meet Goku and his grandfather Gohan.
Named what was it? Sweetie or something?
Sparkle.
Sparkle.
Who they call Sparkle in
Yeah.
this.
Although I don't know that that's ever spoken. Well, there's a
Yeah.
lot of characters' names that I'm like, I don't think that name was ever said.
No,
I think
they
yeah.
were trying to avoid naming
Maybe.
anyone. So they go,
Probably, yeah.
well, you think it's
Eh,
Bulma?
it's-
You think it's Bulma?
I mean, even Monkey Boy, it's like, it just sounds like a nickname. It doesn't
Mhm.
sound like it's his actual name, right?
Which again, Goku is based on the Monkey King from Journey to
Right.
the West.
Yeah.
He's got the long stick. So who's ripping off who is what I say.
don't know.
I mean, they put him
Well,
in the exact
these
costume.
filmmakers didn't write Journey to the West. It's 1,000, whatever, 2,000
It's
years old.
free to anyone to
That's right.
interpret however they
Well,
like.
in which case, just make that movie.
They
you
could
don't need to pay anyone to make that movie.
Made that movie,
Yeah.
you're right. But I feel like it's been a while since I've seen an adaptation of Journey to the West,
Mhm.
but I don't know how lecherous that story is.
Oh,
that there
you
would be
think
things
maybe,
that would be lost.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like points
Yeah.
where old men are
Desperately try to.
bartering with young women to
yeah.
try and see them naked.
Right.
So anyway, then now we get to see some cool martial arts. We saw the guns, we see the cool martial
Mhm.
arts. So then Goku and his grandfather train and
His-
fight with each other.
His grandfather, who I would say is 36, 37,
yeah,
wearing a gray wig,
yeah,
which comes back later. There's another character that. Same
yeah.
thing.
Not a single actor in this film is over 36 years
No,
old.
yeah.
But they play all ages.
Yeah.
They have a cool wire fight. You can see every single one of the wires. They'll do CG to make like cracks fall off a building,
Mm-hmm.
but they won't hide the wires.
Yeah.
And
It's mostly bouncing from tree to tree. I noticed.
Yeah.
Goku likes to get around by bouncing from tree to tree. That's his
Yeah.
main form of transportation.
but he does beat his grandfather, and that's like wow, you're
Oh,
ready.
you're so
You're
strong.
very
Yeah.
ready. Good for you. And so he celebrates by diving into a. Oh, he does a bunch of flips off stuff. The
Yeah.
least efficient way to get around by flipping off trees.
Yep.
And then he dives into a lake, which also has an alligator in it.
A talking alligator.
Yeah, a talking alligator.
The alligator speaks.
All the animals speak.
All the animals speak. Well, did the monkeys speak? Because he brings the monkeys a big thing of bananas.
Oh, right.
But yeah, no.
The
so-
bird speaks.
The bird speaks a
Yeah.
lot. There's a talking alligator who is the puppet is pretty bad. It's
Mhm.
okay if it's just sitting still,
Yeah.
but that mouth
when
moves
you see the
and
fold,
it's like the
when
folding
you see the fold of
latex.
the
Yeah.
rubber.
He kills the alligator
Yeah. hmm
to bring it back for meat, I believe.
Yeah.
They're going to eat the alligator or something.
But he's
Um,
interrupted along the way
That's right.
because he hears over the hill
What's that?
the
It's
sound of a Jeep,
Jeep.
Wrangler.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote here,
Well-
Bulma shows up in a Jeep Wrangler with an Uzi, and I couldn't be more pleased.
Yeah. She has an Uzi around her shoulder and she like runs him off the road and is like, "Get the fuck out of the road. What are you
Yeah,
doing?"
yeah.
But like she's driving into a rock. It's
Mhm.
just he's standing in front of a rock. She's not going out of there. He's not in her way.
Yeah,
Unless
yeah.
she was planning on crashing into a
She's gonna-
rock.
she was going to kill him.
They kind of have a fight. She shoots him up immediately.
Yeah.
She opens fire, starts spraying him.
Yeah.
He's fine because it's Goku.
The bullets
so,
drop
yeah.
off of him,
yeah.
but he's still like, ow, what was that stuff? Because he's an idiot.
He's never seen a woman before. This is when they both exclaim, "Rapist!" Right?
So this is because there's a very famous moment in Dragon Ball where Goku sleeps on Bulma's crotch.
Yeah.
and doesn't understand why there's not a pillow there, like when he sleeps on his
Is
grandfather's
the
crotch.
pillow the dick?
Yeah, it's like the dick and balls all
Jesus
scrunched up.
Christ.
And so he's confused. And so, he pats on it and he's like, oh, it's weird. It's flat there. So then he pulls her underwear off and then he screams because he doesn't know what girls are. They adapted that scene slightly for this film in such a way that he notices she has boobs.
Yeah.
And then he's like, what the heck are those? And that's it.
He says your chest is bigger than mine.
My heart says I prefer the original version, the take on it.
Your heart is disgusting and
But I
should
just
be in prison.
I think it leaves less questions.
Yeah.
But we also find out that Bulma has the 5-star pearl,
Yes, she does.
and Goku, his grandfather, has
the 4-star.
Has the 4 stars, and that's hidden back home. And she's like, well, hold on a minute. I almost got run down by some Taiwanese tanks just a minute ago before I got here.
Yep.
And they seemed like they were headed towards where your
Towards Grandpa's
grandfather
house.
lives. And they're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
So then they drive off, they rush back, and then we get to see the aliens show up.
Yeah, Grandpa fights the aliens.
And they just, again,
it's spray.
it's just standing. You didn't have to, if you were going to be a bad guy in this movie, you didn't have to learn a single kick or punch. All you had to know was how to plant your feet and spray bullets. And that's what they do. He bounces all over the place, but ultimately they blow it up.
Did
and
they
he's
get
gone.
him?
He's gone. We don't
He's
know what
gone.
happened to
Did
him. He's
Grandpa
gone.
die?
Yeah, so they show up and then they realize Grandpa's been gone. And then they say, well, let's go after him.
Mhm.
And then the low point of the whole movie happens. They blow up the Jeep Wrangler. Just what a shame.
It's so strange because Goku's flying.
Yeah.
What's her name? Bulma is
Yeah.
in the Jeep. She like skids in front of him, pulls him into the Jeep, and is like,
Mhm.
"No, we're driving."
Yeah.
I don't know why. They could, whatever. Jeep blows up, and instead of just continuing to fly
Yeah.
as he's been doing, Goku's like, "Shit, we're stuck. We got to stop following them now." It's like,
Well,
no,
they-
you don't. You can fly.
Well, but they ultimately do find I would say, faster and more reliable form of transportation in the form of an elephant.
Yes, yeah, easily the quickest way to get anywhere.
At least faster than a Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
when an elephant gets up to above 50 miles an hour, everything doesn't start rattling on the elephant. But like Journey to the West and Dragon Ball, this is just a series of misadventures along the way.
Yeah.
And so it's not long after they're on the road that they hear a woman crying for help.
Oof.
And anytime you hear a woman crying for help in a Dragon Ball related product, you know you're going to
It's-
find a lech
Yeah.
not far behind.
This is bad. This
Yeah.
is upsetting. It's a man in what I would say is blackface, head to toe.
I thought it was Mr. Popo at first.
Yeah,
luckily-
you can look that up.
Yeah,
That's not on us. You can look that
that's
up
not on us.
on your own. No, it's a pig man, which who is he?
Oolong.
Oolong
Oolong.
and Dragon Ball. I think his name. What is his name?
This is a really exciting moment for me because Oolong shows up exactly when he should. But I wasn't sure if he was going to be in this movie, but I had already explained to Patrick that in the original Dragon Ball arc, Oolong gets his wish granted at the end of the arc. And what does he wish for, Patrick?
You told me he wishes for a pair of panties.
Yeah, women's panties.
Women's panties.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
just
then
to
he
have.
proceeds
yeah.
to wear on his head
Yeah.
for the rest of the series.
And I would say this adaptation is probably pretty close to that
close.
characterization.
He basically sees a pretty girl and he's like, I want to marry you.
He's
You can
chasing a
marry me."
girl, and it's a girl
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Uh,
very young.
through a field.
Yeah. But in his defense, he does say that they can wait to get married until she's older. Which
Yeah, but it doesn't seem to stop him. at
letter
all.
of the
It,
law,
like,
Patrick. Letter of the law.
Oh no.
Letter of the
no.
law, Patrick.
No, I'm gonna.
No?
I want to distance myself from that. I
Okay,
officially
alright.
distance myself
All
from
right.
that.
But what you saying?
It's pretty gross. They step in, they fight him briefly, but then decide, you know what? He's fine.
Yeah.
He can come with us, even though we caught him.
He's like
chasing down.
he's
a
like a
child.
loser. He's like, I'm a loser.
Yeah,
What am
yeah.
I supposed to do? And
But they do find out he's the 91st descendant of
the pig fairy.
Pig Fairy, and
Yeah.
Goku's the 91st descendant of the Monkey Fairy,
Yeah.
or something.
Which they're gonna have to retcon at some point because he's
Yes.
actually from Planet Vegeta.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll retcon it.
But yeah, so then he joins them. He also abandons because he has a prosthetic nose and ears and stuff, but he
Yep.
can shapeshift.
He just turns into like a weird corny. Like if you've ever seen Ricky O, he's kind of dressed like the assistant warden's son.
Yeah.
I know that's a, or no, the warden's son. The warden's son.
Yeah.
Uh, shorts, suspenders.
Yeah. Infantile, almost like a
yeah.
grown man as a toddler
yeah.
kind of
He's
vibe.
he's got a bowl cut, but then under the bowl is another patch of hair, which is a rat, like a braided
separate,
rat
though.
tail. Yeah, no,
There's
it's like
a line.
it's
There's a scalp line.
clear
between.
distinction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible to look
And
at.
so now at this point, Oolong, he joins the fray.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get to celebrate that long because now I get really excited.
Oh, before you get excited, can I please, I have to mention one thing.
Yeah.
Goku, upon seeing Oolong in his original form, says, this is a direct quote from the movie, Granddad never mentioned that there were men as dark as this.
I don't believe that's pulled from the original text of Dragon Ball.
No?
I don't believe.
Okay. Okay.
I think in the Taiwanese context is different there.
Yeah.
Is different there.
Okay. What do you think the
I think
context
they
is in
meant like
Taiwan?
his soul,
Right,
like
sure.
his heart and his
Okay,
soul.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but I'm not here to defend
No. It's,
Dragon Ball The Magic
yeah,
Begins.
yeah.
I'm just here to provide historical
I
and
got
cultural
you.
context
I got
to it,
you. Thank
Patrick.
you. I appreciate it.
So we haven't even talked about how they affectionately refer to another character upcoming as Sex Maniac.
Oh, yeah.
I got really
You got
excited at this
excited,
point
yeah.
because I'm like, yes, they are literally just following the story of Dragon Ball.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that means Yamcha is going to show up at this point.
Mhm.
Boom! Like
There he
a
is.
flash.
There he is.
Yamcha shows up.
Yep.
Now, Yamcha is a bandit who is a practitioner of the Wolf Fang Fist.
Okay.
But in this movie, they have a different take. And it's that he's carrying an assault rifle.
Everyone has a gun. Everyone has a fucking gun. What is the point of all this martial arts if you just have a gun?
Yeah, I don't know. So he appears next to Piggy and Goku. Once they're
Yeah.
finally bearing they're like, oh, we're like almost brothers.
Yeah.
And then he shows up and he's got an assault rifle and he's like, well, time to blast some fools. And instead of Poir, right? Of course, you know Poir. Instead of Poir, he has a parrot or whatever, a cockatiel.
Is Poir a bird as well?
No, you know Poir,
Poir?
the flying furry creature that's best friends to Yamcha.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Of
I said
course I
Poir,
know.
and you should have immediately
Of
known what I was referring to.
course.
So yeah, he has a cockatiel or some sort
Yeah,
of
talking
large
bird.
talking bird that accompanies him in this,
Mhm.
and he's dressed like a cowboy at first.
Yeah, it's like a cowboy, operator.
Yeah,
It's like a military cowboy.
he
with
introduces himself as Westwood,
yeah, Westwood. That's his fake name. That's his.
which is funny because I think that they probably thought that's like Wild West, like they thought like
Maybe, yeah.
cowboy,
Yeah.
but Westwood has a completely different connotation in
Uh-huh.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like there's just different.
weird-
It's just
yeah.
different takes and everything.
Well, he sheds the cowboy costume though, and
dressed
he's
like a
like,
little
oh, it's
prince."
a dandy. He's a little dandy man.
He's dressed like he's got a sword. He's dressed like a little prince or
Yeah,
whatever.
he's got like a shiny white outfit on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A
So
nasty little mustache too.
oh, yeah.
Really gross. Like
He's like probably 8 years old. I'm so confused.
very young. Everyone's so.
I mean,
young.
Bulma also. That
Yeah.
actress looks like she is 14.
Yeah.
But I think well, no, I'm trying to think. She probably wasn't that much older than that because I think she was born in like late 70s. So 91, she's close. But yeah, everyone looks extremely young, including Yamcha,
Mhm.
aka Westwood. And then he decides to fight. I don't remember why they fight.
I think.
They just start fighting.
Wait, why do they fight?
They just go
Maybe
at
they
it.
do just start fighting. For
So
no
Goku
reason.
and Yamcha they have a big fight.
Oh,
Lots of
yeah.
wires
So
everywhere.
many
None
wires.
of them replaced or scrubbed over.
No.
They're running up and down walls.
There's a
and
lot
doing
of
all kinds
like.
stuff.
I mean, they're shooting in actual ruins,
Yeah.
but every once in a while you'll see like a ruin, and then all these like different colored bricks filling something in. It's like, what is going on? What's done? And then someone smashes
sun
through it.
damage.
Ah,
It's
yeah,
sun
okay,
damage,
yeah.
Patrick.
Where are all
that's
those
why.
loose bricks stacked in these ruins?
But it culminates.
The-
Oh, it's
I mean,
great.
we could end the podcast here
We could end it here.
because please, Ooh.
So here's what happens.
Yeah.
At the end of their fight, they punch and clash fists together.
Mhm.
And if you want to know what happens after that, we'll be right back after this break. Two fists slam together,
Yes.
and it changes the whole world into computer-generated animation fight scene. I don't know how to describe it other than it looks like something from Reboot.
Yeah, it
Remember
looks like
Reboot?
shit.
I also said it looked like I think it was the Taiwanese news stories. Remember when Taiwan?
Yeah.
You didn't remember
I
this,
don't
but
remember,
they
but
did with
yeah.
this thing where Taiwan would be like big news stories, but they would use computer animation real quick to try and redo these news stories.
It's kind of like the cutscenes from Mortal Kombat 4
Yes.
a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. It looks real bad.
Extremely clunky. Looks like shit. Like
But they
everything
have
is so smooth.
They do some moves. It doesn't go anywhere too far, but they do some moves together, so that way it can match cut back again to the fist.
Yeah, to
Because
the
all of
same
this is
punch.
added for the Ultimate Edition.
And I found that scene in the like the original one, because I think I found a version of the original one on YouTube eventually, and I think it just like is punch, fist
Yeah.
come away. Like there's nothing there. They
No,
just
no.
added, and if you look, like the Ultimate's a little longer,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's why.
Yeah, it's
is
exactly
literally just
one
they
awesome
were like
CG cutscene.
I don't, and you and I were just like jaws on the floor.
Yeah.
Like it's the most unexpected. Bad, like it's the worst instincts telling people to do this. Even
It looks like a PlayStation 1 game.
yeah.
That's how it looks.
But a pre-rendered cutscene from a place.
Yeah. Well, like this is mean nothing to you, but to my friends out there, it
Uh-huh.
looks like Toe Ball number 1, which
Not
characters designed by Patrick
Grandpa.
Akira Toriyama.
Oh, okay.
So that's what it looks like.
Gotcha.
Only worse. And it seems as though they're at a stalemate. Then Bulma runs up
Yeah.
and
Yamcha is gravely and like paralyzingly afraid of
Yeah.
women.
what did he say? He's tired of shimmering in front of what did he say?
Well, yeah, I don't know how much of that was the AI generated
the
subtitles
captions or whatever, yeah.
but yeah, he's like he's sick of shimmering whenever he sees a woman or something.
Yeah.
Well, she also is weird though. She runs up and says, I wrote it down. Westwood, can I become your friend?
Oh yeah.
Which
yeah.
if someone says that to me, I'm running too.
It's
That's a
trouble.
weird thing
It's
to
trouble.
say. Yeah.
I explained the context to you
Yeah.
though that in the anime or in the manga, Bulma's trying to get the balls to get a boyfriend, and
A boyfriend.
yeah, she's
Oh,
trying,
he-
she's trying to get a
Oh,
boyfriend.
Bulma. I thought you were
Bulma
talking about
is,
Westwood.
and then
yeah.
and he wants the balls so that way he doesn't
So-
chicken shit in front of women.
I am so confused by all of this. So this show, Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Any wish you want.
Yeah.
Anything you want.
Yeah.
And the desires are women's panties, a boyfriend, and to not be afraid of women.
Those-
Anything in the world you can have.
Well, most of the villains
Uh-huh.
want ultimate power.
yeah,
or
that's what you
immortality.
wish for.
The problem is in the show, most of the wishes are, can you bring back to life this character who died in pursuit of the Dragon Balls?
Okay.
That's
I-
honestly what most of the wishes go to. Are
Uh-huh.
like, this guy's dead and he died trying to get the balls
Yes.
to make a wish for panties.
Okay.
Can you bring him back?
Please bring him back.
That's what most wishes do.
Got it.
Rebuild this planet or all these people. So they're a pretty horrific device. They're like the atom bomb.
Yeah.
They do more harm than good. Anyway, Yamcha chickens out. He
He runs away. right?
runs away. He's sweating.
Yeah. oh,
He's
yeah.
all wet
He's
and
a-
nasty. Something happened.
There's a lot of speed ups, like
Mhm.
fast
Oh,
motion
yeah.
in this movie, and that's one of them. Is when he runs away, everything like gets ramped way up.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He's like, "Brrrr."
Yeah. But we find out that number one, he has a hidden dragon pearl as well.
He does.
And what's his name? Piggy, Oolong.
Piggy, yeah. Piggy.
He knows someone who may know more about this, which is the Turtle Man.
Someone he describes as a sex maniac,
He describes him as a second. And so I go, that's Master Roshi.
and you were
I
right.
go, they didn't have to translate
No.
that at all.
Nope.
But he lives on an island
Mhm.
out on his own. He's
Well,
a turtle hermit.
The quote is, "He's a sex maniac. He's many times worse than me."
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
guess. but-
That's how I would want to describe someone that
Why-
I'm bringing a host of young
yeah.
people to.
Why are these children still hanging out with any of these people?
Yeah, I don't know. And so now we enter what I call phase 3 of this film. A phase
Yes.
in which we exist basically until the end.
Because, again, like we said, I think this is the only set they actually built for the movie.
And it's fine.
Oh, looks good.
It's like an island.
Yeah.
They built a big house on the island.
Yeah.
It's weird because they show the inside of Master Roshi's residence, and they make a point of having his bed suspended from the ceiling.
Like swinging, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that'll be a factor. It never
No,
is.
It's not.
It never
not.
is.
I think it was just someone thought it was cool.
Yeah, it was.
He is introduced to us. He's doing Jim Carrey faces.
Yeah,
What is that?
he's just chewing scenery. They're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
even around.
No,
he's just
he's-
waking up on a normal day,
Entertaining
and
himself.
he does his, what is it, moonwalk magic.
Which is, he does not do the moonwalk once.
He doesn't moonwalk. He
No.
just dances.
Yeah.
And then that summons in his flying nimbus,
The
which they
cloud.
call magic cloud or
Yeah.
whatever. And so then he's tries getting on the flying nimbus, and it looks. I want to know what it looked like before,
I know, without the CG.
because the way they did it, it was literally the free. If you ever had Apple Motion,
yeah.
that it was the free cloud effect that
Yeah.
came with Apple Motion
Mhm.
that only had, I think, like an 8-second loop. So it doesn't even, so you see it reset the clouds every single time,
Yeah.
every 8 seconds. And I want to know what it looked like without all that stuff.
I tried to see in the YouTube version I found that was the original, but it was very like blurry.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, it was probably a TV rip or
Yeah.
VHS rip. It was kind of gold, but I think maybe the whole thing was gold because of how it was recorded. But it kind of just looks like a really bad.
It's gold in Dragon Ball. It's gold.
Oh, is
it's a
it? So it might
golden
have been that.
cloud.
It kind of just looked like a shimmering gold, like a
Interesting.
muddy
Yeah.
gold. Like, I don't know what they.
That's what I want.
I think it was like a filter more than like a
Yeah, yeah.
animation or something that they
Yeah.
just like would slap in and move around. But yeah.
That's what I wanted. But so he does his BS and he talks about being a pervert. And
Mhm.
oh yeah, he's like trying to send the cloud.
To find him a woman.
Go find,
Yeah.
go find pretty girls.
That's what it
cloud.
is,
And the
yeah.
cloud is like,
Yeah.
like, no,
Fuck
that's
you, you
weird.
creepy old
That's
man. Yeah.
creepy. But he notices someone coming up on an awesome jet ski.
The jet ski is nuts. I mean, in form, I would say it. You would see it and say jet ski.
Yeah.
The more you look at it, though, there's like a full outboard
Yeah.
motor on the back of it. The jet ski itself looks weird and like too big, but it looks incredibly dangerous.
Well, that's the thing. Jet skis are dangerous.
yeah.
But imagine because you look at the design of a jet ski and you go, certain parts were put there so that way people are less likely to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And you took all that away.
All of it.
And all that was
Yeah.
left were the dangerous parts of a jet ski.
Yeah.
That's what Yamcha rolls up on.
Yes.
And he basically runs up and he says, because he knows that's where they're headed, he says,
Yeah.
just a heads up, someone's coming here to fight you.
Yeah.
He's going to want to fight you. And so you better be careful, my man. And then that's when he notices the other crew rolling up too.
So he
runs and
hides.
hides.
Yeah, but his bird is outside and rats him out.
Yeah, ratting him out.
Rats him out.
And then so the rest of the crew comes like, oh, hey, Master Roshi or whatever. He's immediately like,
She goes fucking crazy.
he's crazy because there's
Yeah.
2 women here. One is like 7 years old. And he's losing his fucking mind. The other's probably 14 and he's going crazy.
yeah, he's
and everyone
driven
else-
to madness.
So much so that he has cartoon eyes that shoot out of his face.
like a Roger Rabbit.
He has
cartoon,
sunglasses
like,
on, so I don't even know how it
eyes.
works, but
Yeah.
he did. And in the mask, the mask came out in 1994.
Yeah,
This looks worse than that.
way worse.
So I don't know
way
what
worse.
happened.
But it's fully like, I cannot stress enough. These are Looney Tunes eyes.
Yeah.
CG, but Looney Tunes eyes that come out of his head because, as you said, he sees 2 children. Uh,
And then the rest of it just becomes. There's like 25 minutes of this movie that just becomes nonsense bickering back and forth.
one of my other notes was made stupid by seeing a woman.
Yeah.
Because he just loses his mind.
He loses his mind. And so they come to an arrangement wherein, God, I hate that I have to say this.
Oh, go ahead.
And this is in Dragon Ball.
Great.
It's in Dragon Ball. The
Great.
same thing transpires.
Okay.
But basically, she gives Yamcha a kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And so then he's like, okay, you can have my Dragon Ball. And so she's like, nice. And then so Master Roshi goes, that gives me an idea. He's like, well, I'd be willing
on
to
a
trade it
second.
for something. And she's like, a kiss? And he's like, no, I got to see your naked body. And she's like, I could show you my driver's license. and you could look at my date of birth and maybe you would reconsider that. And he goes, nah.
No.
He's like, all right, meet you halfway.
He says, I wouldn't.
Yeah. Just meet you halfway, just the top half.
Yeah.
And then she's like, huh. And everyone's like, don't do this. This is weird. This is creepy.
Uh-huh.
But she's like, we got to get these Dragon Balls, though. So they have a huddle. They go, wait a minute,
Hang
Oolong.
on a
You can
second.
turn into anything.
Oh, yeah, that's established also. Oolong is a shapeshifter.
He's a shapeshifter.
There's a very weird scene.
Yeah.
where
He
he
turns
into
into several different women, but not long enough for us to see any of them.
and he's just like spinning around the whole
Yeah.
time. It's
So anyway, the plan is, oh, well, this way I don't have to show myself naked. Transform into me.
Yep.
And then you show me naked to him.
Yeah.
And then
then-
it's square.
And then Oolong is like, wait a minute. You should show me your bottom half
Yeah.
for me.
He's like,
To
that for
show
me to
him
do
the
this,
top
you show me
half.
the bottom half. And she's like, she's like, I will never do that.
Yeah.
Just transform into me and you can see everything you want to. And he's like,
It's like,
wow, that's a great
oh my
idea.
God, you're right.
And I'm realizing Bulma's an idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
I-
who gives a shit?
Right. At this point, yeah.
If Jennifer Connelly
Uh-huh.
came up to me and she said, well, you're not going to see me naked, but you are going to see this exact copy of me naked
Yeah, it's
as
like-
much as you want, I would be like, oh no,
Oh, no,
Jennifer
boo-hoo.
Connelly, please.
Please, I want to see you.
It has to be you, Jennifer Connelly, please. I wouldn't give a shit.
No.
But they are really caught up in the idea that this is a great plan.
Yeah.
Oolong makes some creative decisions too. He even makes her boobs bigger.
Yeah, he makes her boobs quite a bit bigger.
And then they go out and they like he dances Master Roshi.
Strips
And he's
for him.
really into it. And then
Yeah.
eventually he shows him Bulma's big boobs.
Yeah.
And they're all like, we're pulling a fast one on him.
And you
Which
think
it's weird because I do know this scene from Dragon Ball.
Uh-huh.
And in the scene in Dragon Ball, Bulma's like, this is a bad idea. She's like, has regrets
Yeah.
about what is transpiring
Yeah.
because it looks like Oolong's having a little too much fun
Uh-huh.
and she doesn't like it. And she's like, wait a minute, this is a bad idea. But in this, it's like,
Everyone's on
nice.
board. Everyone loves
it's
it.
working.
Everyone loves what's happening.
It's working.
He shows his boobs, Master Roshi motorboats, and as his face touches the breast, we transition to CGI. Oolong takes him, transforms back into pig form.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bigger too.
Actually, even bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger snout,
Yeah.
tusks,
Yeah.
and he takes Master Roshi and lays him upon the sand, right there in the
Yeah.
sand.
Yeah.
And
Take his legs up.
exactly.
And then Yeah. switching.
And the
And it-
cloud covers it, so you don't see everything. It's tasteful.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you hear everything.
But I'm like, what did it look like in the original?
And I.
And then, because remember the point, because he can shapeshift, so he turns one arm into a hoof,
Yeah.
and then he takes the hoof and he presses Master Roshi's
Into the
face
sand.
into the sand
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. And then you see him as that's happening, his other hand also becomes a hoof.
Yeah.
And you're wondering, well, what's he gonna he's not gonna push anything.
No.
He goes back
Yeah.
and you see him insert the
Yeah.
hoof hand somewhere. We don't see where because the cloud's covering it. It could be anything.
Also, yeah, where did
We don't know because the cloud's covering it. So we don't
Okay,
know.
no, but if he's already got him on the sand and penetrating him on
Yeah.
the sand, where does the
Well,
hoof
there's a
go?
scene where Oolong looks down beforehand and he goes down like that.
He
and
spits on the hoof.
and you hear like a like a
Something
like a
pop.
pop
Yeah, I
noise.
remember. Yeah, because it had the
Uh,
subtitles and it
Right?
went pop, noise.
Yeah.
Thinking about, yeah, it's really weird how they had that thing.
He spits on that.
He spits on the, and then puts it down
And you
there,
hear Master Roshi go, ah!
and then his eyes bug out,
Yes.
and then little hearts circle around his head or whatever. But then the thing is, since that's all added for the Ultimate Edition,
Right.
they have to go back to standing to the
Yeah.
point where it's a match.
So then
cut.
it's just him in the motorboat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so mission accomplished.
Yeah, they did it.
And
Again, I can't stress enough that everything we've described, starting with the jet ski or like going out to, or just the introduction of Master Roshi,
Yeah.
is the last like 40 minutes of the movie.
it's a lot.
It really is like 40 minutes long, I
Mhm.
think. That's not an exaggeration. Most of the movie takes place here.
Yeah.
Certainly like 20 to 30 minutes more here than anywhere else in
Yeah.
the movie. It's pretty. This was kind of. I feel like in most of these movies, we have a moment where we pause and we're like, "How much is left?"
It's the dark night of our soul.
It was like 40 minutes in this. It was a lot.
Yeah.
And it
a
was
lot.
not like I didn't feel, oh, we're almost to the end, or wow, how much is left? I have no idea where we're at.
Yeah.
This is nothing is
Grinded to a halt.
making any
Yeah.
sense.
Well, thank goodness. Once all this
Uh-huh.
transpires, the bad guys show up in their CG spaceships.
Yes, they do.
And they start blasting the island to smithereens.
Oh, we didn't talk about Master Roshi's wolf howl.
Oh, yeah, he wolf howls.
He wolf howls. That's it.
He reacts to the boobs
Yeah.
for at least 10 minutes, it
Yeah,
feels
it's
like.
about 10 minutes.
And you're just watching it.
Yeah.
It's just unfolding.
Yeah. Helpless.
But the bad guys show up, they blast the island, and you go, thank God.
Mhm.
And in the explosion, Bulma loses the dragon
Dragon balls,
pearls
or
that she
pearls.
had just worked so hard to get.
Mhm.
And then they take him away. We established that Goku is pure of heart and so can ride
You
on
can
the cloud.
yeah.
And so they escape on the cloud and run away. And Master Roshi stays behind, fires some Kamehamehas.
Yes, he
which
does.
I
Yep.
appreciated.
He blows. So 3 ships show up.
Mm-hmm.
He blows up 2 of them,
Yeah.
and 3 ships leave.
Oh, well.
Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know.
I don't know.
At one point, the blue villain guy,
Yeah.
is like riding around in a CG ship, like out of the
You can
porthole.
see the
kind of.
remnants,
Yeah.
of what it used
Yeah.
to look like.
And he's just firing grenades.
Mhm.
It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so then they fly away. Now they've got 6 of the balls,
Mhm.
and
The bad guys.
The bad guys.
Yeah.
The heroes like reconvene on the side of the ocean or whatever on the beach.
Mhm.
They're like, "What are we gonna do? We got 6 balls." Master Roshi also he survives by ducking into his shell.
Right. Yeah.
And
He has a turtle shell. He also is a turtle. Actually, we didn't talk about that. When he
Oh,
first
yeah.
appears, he is a turtle.
But that's added too. That's
He's a-
like CG that they added.
Yes, it is. He has a turtle's head
Yeah.
that transforms into his head and
Yeah.
is never talked about again.
This must be a mistranslation.
And I don't know if that was like, was there a mask in the original one, or was it just nothing? It was
have
just
no
he just
idea.
shows up and is a guy.
I don't know.
I don't know.
But they're like, what are we gonna do? They got all the stuff. And so then Master Roshi says, well, the balls or the pearls are naturally drawn to each other, which isn't true. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
And anytime 2 or more are close, then they're gonna draw in the third. And so if they're he's saying if all 6 are there, I
Mhm.
don't understand the logic. If all 6 are there, one of the other balls must be here. Because most of them were here.
Yeah, he just decides the one of us has to
Yeah.
have the other one.
And it just
But we all got rid of ours.
it just so happens that Oolong is playing with his ball at this point in time.
Because they send him away because he didn't have a ball.
Yeah.
They like shoo him away because
Yeah.
he didn't have a pearl or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they look over and he's like playing with it. And then it's like, my master always told me to hide it. It's
Yeah.
like, why are you playing? Why didn't you just tell them at some
I don't
point?
know. I don't know. But either way, it's almost like the movie realizes none of that was necessary. Because then
Right.
it hard cuts.
Crazy. One of
Hard
the
cuts.
wildest like cuts I've ever seen.
Yeah. Hard cuts to an assault on their base.
Yeah,
The bad
so
guy's base.
It's Pigman like playing with his ball and handing it over. And he's still dressed in like schoolboy to Pigman Oolong
Mm-hmm.
in like army pants with like a headband
Yeah.
and an assault rifle,
Assault rifle.
like a heavy assault,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, charging down this bridge in slow motion and like firing on the bad guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they even talk about, hey, we should assault. It's like, boom, it's
where we
happening.
should go, what we
Yeah.
should do, any of that. It's just right into
Yeah.
it. And then from there on out, it's just action sequence. It's just
Yeah.
the Goku and Yamcha are doing wire stuff.
Mhm.
Master Roshi is shooting laser beams. We see those other 2 bad guys, the man and woman bad guy again. And it's
Mhm.
funny too, because there's like a fight scene back and forth.
Yeah.
But then someone just grabs a gun and shoots her like 6 times and she just dies on the
And
ground.
At this point, there's a lot of like firing guns and people falling over, but not a lot of like blood.
Yeah.
She has like 8 squibs that all pop. She's bleeding everywhere. Blood's coming out of her mouth.
It's weird because there's so much shooting in this movie, but it desensitizes. It's like stormtroopers just firing lasers, like no one ever
Right,
gets
yeah,
hit.
yeah.
There's just bullets always everywhere,
Yeah.
and nothing ever matters, and they miss and all this stuff. But then she gets nailed, and then
it's
you're
like,
like,
whoa.
oh right, bullets kill people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they do it really efficiently,
yeah,
and
yeah.
really, really
They're quite good
fast.
at it. Yeah.
And so she dies just unceremoniously. And then kind of the same with the other guy, Bongo.
He blows up.
Because
like,
Bulma has a
explodes.
grenade launcher.
Yes.
And he's fighting someone else. He's fighting Master Roshi.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
she waits for him to just kind of get free. She shoots at him. By the way, Bongo has fired probably 20, 30 grenade launchers throughout this whole movie, hasn't hit a single thing or person.
He gets direct hits on Master Roshi like 5 times.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know if he can teleport, if that's a power he has, but
Yeah.
he's never like, he's always gone afterwards, but not dead.
But she nails him. He pops. His whole upper body pops. And so now the only one left is the King of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're surrounding him, but then he uses magic power to summon the zombies, the raise
world
the
turns
corpses
blue.
of all of the dead villagers.
Yeah.
And we also find out that the little girl that the pig man was after was the daughter of the chief from the beginning of the movie who had the Dragon Ball of that village.
Yeah, yeah.
The Dragon Pearl. And so he raises all these zombies, and so they're like afraid to fight back against the zombies.
Mhm.
Until ultimately, I believe Goku jumps on his cloud and then is able to break the spell with his long stick, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. He jumps on him. He
It's
basically
something.
leaps on him.
It's something like that.
And then Master Roshi just drops the information that if all the balls touch,
Mhm.
it summons the dragon.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
And the bad guy, we find out, was storing his 6 balls in his stomach.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's give him number 7.
Yeah.
Pops it in his
Which,
mouth.
To me, I'm still kind of like, does that kill him or does that just give him
Grant
the
his wish.
wish?
He
It
feels like
seems
he
like
should be
he
first
should
in
get the
line,
wish if it's in
right?
his gut. Yeah.
I guess if you survive, but
he doesn't. He
no,
explodes.
he pops.
They pop him. So they get
Shenlong.
the dragon shows up. It's like you get your wish. Immediately the perverts are
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah.
Like so fucking
Well, that's what
fast.
wishes are for, Patrick.
Apparently.
Yeah.
But the other two shut their mouths physically.
Mhm.
They have to hold their mouths shut so that they can't wish for disgusting
Yeah.
criminal things. And the little, like the younger girl, the girl who's like the daughter of the old chief, is basically just like, I want my village back.
Yeah. Can you
Everyone's
bring
safe
everyone
and
back
fine.
to life?
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm telling you, that's what wishes are used for. Just to bring people back from
In
the
Dragon
dead.
Ball,
Yeah.
you're saying.
But
Yeah,
they did it here too, right? She
Yeah.
just, if the Dragon Balls didn't exist,
right.
village not slaughtered.
Yes. Right.
So
It's the Dragon Ball is the problem.
it's the problem.
Yeah.
But it works.
It works great.
And
Everyone comes back.
everyone's
fine.
happy,
Yeah.
but there's still someone who's a little unsatisfied.
Yeah.
And Yamcha looks at Goku and he says, I have a wish. It's to fight you.
Oh, and they do.
And
but
then music
not-
raises up. They launch slow motion. They go. I said it's going to end with a freeze frame, and boy, was I wrong.
You were. It could because you think maybe it did in the original, but in this version, it is another CG fight.
Oh, baby.
And it looks so good.
Looks really good as the credits roll, too, which means
Yeah.
that they didn't have to render it out
Yep.
in full resolution.
Yep. So if they get a little nice little bit off the back end there.
It felt like a Sega Saturn game was about to start.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. But yeah, you get to see them flip it around,
Kind of,
doing
yeah.
stuff. and
At some
then-
point, they clearly got lazy and were like, just throw the model on screen and just
Mhm.
kind of rotate it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's
Oh, yeah.
just-
They're just like
the
doing...
fighting stops at
Yeah.
a certain point and just becomes like, posed characters spinning kind of. But
And that's how it ends.
that's Dragon Ball The Magic Begins.
And it truly, truly did.
Yeah.
Well, Patrick, do you have any final thoughts about this movie?
I think it's pretty remarkable that we just found this while trying to find another movie,
I know.
and we're so seamlessly able to pivot.
Also, all the recommended, like, you watched Dragon Ball The Magic Begins, and everything that was recommended from it was incredible.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a lot. Probably just, we were talking before how we should have just done a freebie podcast.
Yeah.
Get that freebie money.
No, it was honestly, I'm the more I think about it, the more I'm, like
That's what we
freebie.
should've
If you
done.
want us to just do a freebie podcast, hit us up.
Yeah, let us know.
We will limit ourselves just to your platform. That's fine with us.
That's where most of it is anyway.
The quality of this show will not degrade in any
Didn't even
way
say,
by
we
doing
won't
that.
notice a thing.
Freebie, please, freebie. If you know anyone
Call
who works
us.
at freebie, we will just pivot to freebie because it's got all the best shit. Everything we want to watch is on
It's
there.
great. It's great.
I mean, you go, everything's. I mean, the only reason I found this movie is because I was looking at movies that were in my watch list, and I just see that bar underneath,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hang on a second,
What is this?
these all look incredible.
We're like, this can't be Dragon Ball.
Yeah, it
out
was.
it
kind
was.
of, or no, or wasn't.
All right, we got to do our physique critique.
That's right. Who do you want to take? I guess we could
Um,
do anyone, but or all of them. But
I mean, there is Master Roshi is shirtless for some of it.
yeah,
The Oolong is shirtless for most of it.
Mhm.
I would say I'm going to give this a low rating because
Oh.
most of the bodies in this film are under 15 years of age.
that's
And that
important
is,
to
you
say.
penalize against that
Yes.
because you're not supposed to judge in that way. So
Uh-huh.
I'm going to go pretty low rating on this one. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
Also, everyone's really. I mean, I would fit right. Everyone's very
Oh, yeah.
skinny.
They're scrawny.
No one in this is like big,
No.
which I
no.
feel like is the whole Dragon Ball thing. Is like huge.
Huge,
I mean, that's why you like it. Yes,
That's absolutely why I like it.
that's what I thought. I thought
Absolutely
as
why.
much. I
They
thought
can,
as
they
much.
can literally stand there, think hard enough to make their muscles grow.
It's your greatest dream.
Have you ever watched
Made real.
videos of Broly just going from a regular, not a huge guy to a huger guy? It's awesome.
I have not watched.
It just
those
his
videos,
muscles
no.
just go. They just expand with strength and power.
There you go.
But
See,
no Broly in this. I would have loved to see Broly in this.
he was not in this.
Chase scenes. We got the Jeep
Quite
Wrangler
a few.
following some Taiwanese tanks.
yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Really, right?
It's. I mean, yeah. There's some running through trees chase
Mm-hmm.
scenes. But it's all really the same thing.
Yeah.
That's basically the chase scene.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would say, unless you count Yamcha running down his fear of women on a jet ski through the ocean. I don't know.
Right.
If that's
yeah.
a chase.
He's
but
he's running from himself in many ways.
there you go.
Patrick, do you recommend this film?
Yeah, why not? Sure.
Yeah.
I think if you're a Dragon Ball fan, it's got everything you want. Troubling messages.
Yep.
Horny old men.
Yep.
I mean, that's what it's about, right? Dragon Ball, most those two.
Yeah, mostly.
yeah.
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 Trauma played for laughs.
Yeah, there you go.
And ultimately a message that says life would be better if these Dragon Balls didn't exist in the first place.
I mean, which is not really driven home, I think, quite enough that they are the reason for all of this.
No, they accept no blame.
Okay.
That dragon flies in the sky and goes, I accept no blame.
No, he says, oh,
Already in
do
this.
whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I thought it was pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah.
I feel like I have an easier time watching this movie and going like, there's the thing I recognize, there's the thing I recognize, there's the thing I recognize than I would with Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
So
I still think we should watch it.
we will watch that at some point.
yeah.
But I feel like this, I would almost rather an unlicensed
Much better.
knockoff
Much better.
than someone
yeah.
who is like, I have a take on this.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I also recommend this film. Next time, we're thinking we're probably gonna go with Roar,
Roar, the movie that was
1981's
what was discussed in the,
Roar,
in the intro.
where 70 some odd crew members and performers were mauled,
Brutally assaulted by lions.
mauled.
Yeah.
Didn't John DeBont get scalped or something?
If that's the DP, yes. The
yeah.
DP had his his scalp ripped off by an animal.
Yeah. So
It's really tough to watch because the whole time no one died, but the whole time you're watching it and it's like, this is not a fake.
no.
That lion is attacking this
Yeah.
man. And the guy, you see the
You're
guy
still cranking
yeah,
the camera. Just don't stop rolling.
you can see the guy be like, yeah, and this here is like Tim. Our lion
Yeah.
is hey, Tim. It's like it's really, really hard to watch.
Wow.
We're gonna watch that. I think it's only available on YouTube currently. It's a weirdly difficult movie to get a hold of. It
interesting.
seems like
It's
there
easier
are
to
like,
find documentaries about the movie than
Yeah.
there is to find the movie.
but there's some YouTube uploads. There's also, I mean, I didn't even see like because I would have just rented it, but that
Mhm.
doesn't seem to be an
No, I don't
option
think so.
anywhere.
Yeah.
You can buy the DVD if you want, but yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
Look, if you're not gonna make it available to watch anywhere,
What do you want me to do?
what do you want me?
What do you want me to
What am I
do?
meant to do here? Huh? What am I meant to do?
There's also a pretty good chance that while we're loading up Roar, we find
We're
something
gonna find
else and
something
watch
else.
that too.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind.
Yeah.
But barring any unforeseen circumstances, Roar will be the next movie. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast or watching this podcast. And hit us with a like, give us a share, let people know.
Yeah.
You can always find some great stuff, find some gems and the gems that we
Yeah.
discover. We go digging through the trash so you don't have to.
I will say, look,
Go ahead.
this show of ours, is it an original idea? Absolutely not.
No, heavens no.
Dime a dozen. It's like a D&D podcast.
Yeah.
Thousands of them
Come
out
on.
there. Why would you ever bother listening to
Who
this?
cares?
How many of these shows have covered Dragonball The
Great
Magic
question.
Begins, huh?
Great question.
Huh?
Yeah.
Come on.
Probably, I would say maybe a dozen.
Maybe a dozen or
Maybe
so.
a dozen, but when
Sure.
you look at the percentage.
But that's like 0.01% of these things.
Yeah.
Okay? That puts us in the top.
I would say we're just getting started going deeper.
Yeah, there we go.
We're like dwarves
Yeah,
digging
yeah.
into the mines.
We started and it's like, we don't want to do The Room,
No.
but we got to do something now. We're deep in that muck. No
In the
one's covering
freebie
this
muck.
bullshit.
No one's going through freebie the way we're going through
It's
freebie.
terrible for our SEO and discoverability.
Oh, no one
It's
wants to
so
see this.
bad. No one wants
to
this
hear
show
this.
anymore.
They like people talking about stuff that they know is bad and all,
Yeah.
not this stuff they've never seen before.
Or heard of, yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, well.
we'll keep doing it if you guys keep listening. Thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll see you on the next one.
See ya.
I'm gonna rise to the top.